A 2011 BMW X5 with the naturally aspirated inline-six, the 3.0 SI, the N52, is sitting on CarMax right now for about $13,000. 86,000 miles, clean Carfax, leather, panoramic sunroof, iDrive. The whole thing, $13,000. That's less than a new Nissan Kicks. And the X5 will still be on the road when the Kicks is in a junkyard. But here's the thing, nobody tells you. Not every cheap BMW SUV is a deal. Some of them are cheap because they're about to hand you a $5,000 repair bill before Christmas. And some of them are cheap because the market just forgot about them. Those are the ones you want. And I found 5. I've read what hundreds of BMW SUV owners learned from driving these cars for years. Not the press reviews, not the dealer brochures. The forum threads, the ones where someone posts at 11 at night because their transfer case just shuttered on the highway and they want to know if they should be worried. Bimmer post, E90 post, Reddit. That's where the real ownership data lives. And what I found surprised me. Because a few of these cost less than a used Honda CR-V, and they'll drive circles around it while they're at it. 5 BMW SUVs, all under $25,000, all with engines that owners are still driving past 200,000 miles, and I'm starting with the one that costs less than a decent mountain bike. Number 5, the BMW X3 E83 with the M54 engine. This is the first generation X3 built from 2004 to 2010, and it's based on the E46 platform, which means it doesn't drive like a modern crossover. It doesn't drive like a lifted hatchback. It drives like a BMW. Short overhangs, tight steering, rear-wheel drive architecture with xDrive all-wheel drive. It feels like a tall 3 Series because that's basically what it is. The M54 is a naturally aspirated 3.0-liter inline-6. No turbo, no complicated direct injection, no timing chain drama. This is the engine BMW enthusiasts talk about the way Toyota owners talk about the 2JZ. It just runs. 200,000 miles is routine. 300,000 shows up in the forum threads, and nobody is even surprised. An owner in North Carolina bought his E83 3.0i through a private seller for $4,200. 131,000 miles, full-service records from the same independent BMW shop going back 7 years. His annual maintenance runs about $1,200. Oil changes with Mobil 1 every 5,000 miles at about $65 a pop. A cooling system refresh he did himself with parts from FCP Euro for about $340 total. Water pump, thermostat, expansion tank, all the hoses, and a valve cover gasket his independent shop did for $180. His insurance through Geco in North Carolina runs $118 a month for full coverage. And he says it's the most fun he's ever had in a vehicle that costs less than most people's tax refund. The cooling system is the one thing to know. The water pump, the thermostat, the expansion tank. They're plastic, and they will fail. But the total parts cost is under $400 from FCP Euro. And if you replace them proactively, instead of waiting for the temperature gauge to spike on I-40, the engine underneath will outlive the car around it. If you've ever looked at an E83 on Craigslist and thought, that can't be right, yeah. That price is real. Number 4, Jed. The BMW X1 E84 with the N52 engine. And I need to be very specific here, because the E84 came with 2 different engines, and only one of them belongs on this list. The early 28i, the one with the N52 naturally aspirated 6. That's the one you want. The later 28i switched to the N20 Turbo 4, and that's the one with the timing chain guide failure that cost some owners their entire engine. Same badge, same model name, completely different ownership experience. The chassis code is E84 for both of them. The engine code is what changes everything. The N52 X1 is basically a raised E90 328i with xDrive. It handles like a car, it's the size of a car, and it has one of BMW's most bulletproof engines under the hood. Owners on Reddit call it the most undervalued crossover BMW ever made, and honestly, the prices confirm that. $7,000 to $12,000 for a clean one with under 100,000 miles. You can barely buy a 10-year-old Toyota RAV4 for that. An owner on Bimmer Post drove his E84 28i to 192,000 miles before selling it, and the buyer messaged him a year later to say it just crossed 210,000. The N52 in that car had never been opened. No major repairs, oil filters, and a water pump at 140,000 miles. That's the whole story. If you own an E84, drop your engine code in the comments, N52 or N20. I want to see which one shows up more, but the next one is the sleeper on this list. and the price on it makes no sense. Number 3, the BMW X5 E70 with the N52. And I know what you're thinking, an X5? Cheap. Here's what happened. The E70 X5 came with several engines, and one of them, the N63, the hot V twin-turbo V8, scared the entire market. Oil leaks, turbo failures, valve stem seal problems. People hear E70 X5, and they think expensive nightmare. And that reputation dragged the prices down on every E70 X5, including the ones with the bulletproof inline 6 that shares none of those problems. The 3.0 SI with the N52 is the same basic engine architecture that powers the E90 328i, the car that owners drive to 300,000 miles and then post about on E90 Post, like they just climbed Everest. No turbos, no hot V configuration, no oil consumption drama. Just a naturally aspirated straight 6 doing what BMW straight 6s do. A 2011 E70 3.0 SI with 85,000 miles is sitting in the $12,000 to $14,000 range right now. That's a full-size luxury SUV for what people are paying for a used Honda CR-V with the same mileage, except the CR-V doesn't make you look forward to Monday morning. An owner in Michigan tracked every dollar over 2 years. Purchase price, $11,800 from a private seller on AutoTrader. 91,000 miles, clean Carfax. Annual maintenance at his independent BMW shop ran about $1,500. Oil changes with Liqui Moly every 5,000 miles, one set of front brakes with Zimmerman rotors, and ATE pads for $460 installed, and a thermostat replacement for $220. His insurance through Progressive in Michigan costs $212 a month for full coverage, which he says is only about $35 more than he was paying on his old Mazda CX-5. His total 2-year cost of ownership, purchase price, insurance, gas, every single repair came to about $22,000. His neighbor bought a new Hyundai Tucson for $34,000, and that Tucson has already lost $9,000 in depreciation sitting in the same driveway. And the neighbor doesn't smile on his commute either. The transfer case is the one thing to watch. BMW calls the fluid lifetime, which, if you've been around BMWs long enough, you know is BMW's way of saying until the warranty expires. Independent mechanics say change it every 50,000 miles. Costs about $250 at an independent shop. The owners who do it never have the shuttering problem. The owners who don't end up paying $3,000 to $4,000 to replace the entire unit. E70 with the N52, would you buy it? Yes or no? Comments. I'll read them. Number 2. The BMW X3 F25 LCI with the B48 engine. And I'm stressing the LCI part because it matters more here than on almost any other BMW. The pre-facelift F25 28i came with the N20, the Turbo 4 with the timing chain guide problem that ended engines. The LCI models 2015 to 2017 switched to the B48. And the difference is not subtle. The B48 is one of BMW's most reliable modern engines. It's the same motor that powers the G20 330i and the current X1, and forum threads about catastrophic B48 failures are basically empty. Hundreds of pages of N20 timing chain discussions on BimmerPost. The B48 section, quiet. That tells you everything. An F25 LCI 28i with 75,000 miles runs about $16,000 to $18,000 on AutoTrader right now. More than the E83, but you're getting a modern car, the ZF 8-speed automatic, which is genuinely one of the best transmissions ever made. A refined interior, proper iDrive, and an engine that owners consistently report reaching 150,000 miles on nothing more than oil, filters, and a water pump. Annual maintenance at independent shops lands between $800 and $1,400. The BMW dealership charges about double for the same scope of work, which is why every F25 owner who keeps their car past 60,000 miles eventually finds an independent specialist through BimmerPost or a local BMW Facebook group. You know someone looking at an X3 right now. Send them this before they accidentally buy the N20 version. And that leaves number 1, the one I'd buy. Number 1, the BMW X5 F15 with the N55, the 35i. This is the sweet spot of the entire BMW SUV lineup, and after reading hundreds of owner threads, I'm not sure it's even close. The N55 is BMW's single twin-scroll turbo inline 6, the engine that fixed everything the N54 got wrong while keeping everything the N54 got right. 300 horsepower through the ZF 8-speed in a mid-size luxury SUV that rides like nothing else at this price. Owners who came from a Lexus RX say the X5 ruined them. The steering weight at 70 miles per hour on a highway ramp. That's the moment. That's when they realize they're never going back to the Lexus. An F-15 35i with 70 to 85,000 miles sits in the $18,000 to $24,000 range on CarMax and Carvana. That's a car that's stickered at $62,000. The depreciation cliff is your advantage, but only if you pick the right engine. The F-15 also came with the N24 cylinder in the 28i, which is underpowered for a vehicle this heavy, and the N63TU in the 50i, which is better than the original N63 but still more expensive to maintain than anyone wants to admit. The 35i with the N55 is the one the forums recommend. After reading what owners report, I understand why. The charge pipe is the one known weak point. It's plastic from the factory and it cracks under boost. Most owners replace it with an aluminum aftermarket unit from ECS Tuning for about $150. That's it. That's the big issue on this engine. Compare that to the N63's list of concerns, and you'll understand why the N55 35i is number one. And honestly, that's the pattern across all 5 of these. The engine code decides everything. An X5 with the N52 and an X5 with the N63 are not the same car. An X3 with the B48 and an X3 with the N20 are not the same car. The badge is the same. The model name is the same. The ownership experience is a completely different universe. And the purchase price, often almost identical. That's the part that gets people. That's what we do here. The real numbers before you sign. If you want the full breakdown on the X5, every generation, every engine, what breaks and what it costs, that's the next one. The E53, the E70, the F15, and the G05. 4 generations. One of them is the best used BMW